Well, hello everyone. Hopefully, we'll have some folks joining us today. This is the first Youth Ministry Minute that's live. Welcome. And I have a ton of announcements, so I'm just going to kind of run through all the announcements that I have, and then we're going to get into a series, a new series about developing a rhythm, a ministry rhythm. So first announcements, then we'll get into that. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully we'll see some folks here. Never done this live, so here we go. All right, Youth Ministry Minute, stuff to talk about. Kaleo. It's the year-long mentoring program for 16 to 19-year-olds. Applications have come in and we're still accepting participant applications. So if you're 16 to 19 or going to be 16 to 19 in 2017, we'd love for you to join in that program and kind of have some help discerning what you feel God's calling you to, so you can be a part of that. Also, the Asian Youth Gathering, it's happening next August. So if you're 18 to 23 years old and you'd like to travel to Japan and explore a little bit of Tokyo and also participate in that youth gathering taking place, you can apply and be a part of that. Obviously, I'll share lots of this info on our YouTube page and also our blog, so you can have access to that and know how to apply for that. You can also contact me for more information with that. Faith in 3D, a youth conference, an ecumenical youth conference between the CPC, PYT or PCUSA and CVF. It's happening in January, and so you can be a part of that if you would like. Faith in 3D. I wanted to give an update about STIR. I talked about this last year. Started doing some crowdfunding of that, and that video curriculum, the idea of STIR, we're going to focus on creation, good, broken, and redeemed, and we're going to have a series of videos that you can use to craft lessons around the idea of creation. Anyway, we've talked a lot about that. We've spent time developing it. We have our scripts in, so that's a good start, and we're moving towards developing our first videos for that. So I'll continue to update on STIR and tell you how the progress is coming. So hopefully here by the end of, not the end of 2016, but probably 2017, we will have all of that developed and ready to go. Speaking of curriculum, we also have Faith Out Loud if you're interested in that. A few young adult opportunities besides Kaleo and Asia Youth Gathering. Wanted to tell you about several young adult gatherings taking place in our denomination. The first one is happening at Crystal Springs Camp, December 16th through the 18th. Christmas at the Springs is for young adults. It's going to be a gathering, a Christmas explosion, so you can be a part of that. Look for more information about that, and if you would like some more information, you can also contact BJ Mathis or myself, and I'll send you over to find the best information for that. Another young adult retreat that's taking place is at Camp Clark Williamson in West Tennessee area. It's for young adults, and it's January 6th through the 8th. So if you're interested in that, look for information, or I can point you in the right direction for that. The next is the young adult retreat that's being planned by the Young Adult Ministry Council of the denomination. The plan right now is to have that next spring, March 24th through the 26th at Montgomery Bell State Park. And that's where our birthplace shrine is. So just checking that out. We'll let you know more as that continues to be planned. All right, so that's all my announcements. And we got one person watching. You're awesome. Thanks for watching. Anyway, so what I would like to do is every time I do Youth Ministry Minute is have some sort of thing that we're talking about or discussing. And this week I'm going to do a series of videos that focuses on how do we develop a rhythm. How are we going to develop a ministry rhythm? As leaders in youth ministry or young adult ministry per se, there's a lot you got to do. There's tons of things that you have to manage. Not only are you planning trips and events and retreats and camps and all of that that comes with that, trying to budget for those things, trying to raise funds for those things, trying to get it on the calendar, trying to encourage people to come, trying to get that information out to parents. So there's a lot with that. On top of that, you're doing, some of you are doing 3 to 4 meetings a week. You've got Sunday school to plan for. Maybe you have a Sunday night activity or Bible study you have to do. You have Wednesday night activities that you have to do. So there's a lot that goes into that. Just the church activity. Beyond that, you have to connect with your young people. You have to go to ball games, band, all the other stuff that they do, drama, theater, everything else that kids are involved in. You want to go and participate and know that you care for them outside of just showing up to the youth meeting. So you're trying to calendar that and trying to figure out the best way to go see all these students at their events and school activities. You're having to connect with parents. A big part of youth ministry is ministering to parents and helping them strengthen their bonds with their kids, but also being the spiritual backbone. You are a resource. You shouldn't be the way that you're outsourced to do their spiritual development. You're trying to build up parents to help them do that at home too. But you're also trying to communicate with them all the activities and the events and everything that's going on, so they're in the know. And then beyond that, you're the spokesperson for the congregation about the youth ministry at your church. So you're having to be the PR person, basically. So beyond planning trips and events and projects, all the youth meetings that you have to plan for, connecting, you've got to figure out a way to develop personally. You've got to take time and build time in your schedule to do Bible studies and devotions and prayer time, and figure out a way to spiritually enrich yourself so you're there and can be spiritually available for your parents and your students and your congregation. There's a lot that goes into being in youth ministry and young adult ministry. So I wanted to spend some time today just kind of talking a little bit about developing that rhythm. You know, what does it look like, and maybe some tools to go about doing that. And hopefully here in the future we'll have a dialogue about that. What are some things that you're doing personally? What are you developed, and how is your rhythm? Do you have a set schedule how you do this stuff? On Mondays I do this, Tuesdays I do this, Wednesdays I do this. Or is it kind of just whenever you think about it and it's sporadic and you don't really have a rhythm to it? I want to talk about us developing a rhythm for that and all those ministry things that we have to do, and some tools to help us do that. So today I wanted to focus a little bit about some ways to organize a bit. How do we take all the information that we have and we have to give out? How do we take that stuff and build it and do some stuff with that? So that's what I'm going to share with you or talk about today. First is email. I'm assuming most of us are still organizing and doing email day to day. I know I get a ton of emails, and I used to send out a ton of emails. So how do you use email to the best of your ability? How do you fraction off time and develop a rhythm to checking email, to responding to email and stuff like that? So first thing is, there's a couple of ways of doing that. Some of you are probably using Gmail, and so it already categorizes lots of times and separates things out into folders. Maybe use Outlook. I use Outlook for work, and it's got a great feature of trying to put everything in folders, and it's right out to the side so I can check all the folders and be able to search and access things. So instead of leaving it in my inbox, I'm able to just go ahead and put it where it needs to be. I can also mark it to read later. But another thing that I found recently, I thought might be a good tool is it's called Spark. It's an app, and this app will collect your email all in one place. And some of us don't really I don't like to mix my personal email with my work email, just because my personal email mostly is just spam. It's like stuff I signed up for a long time ago, and every once in a while I'll check it. But most of the time, the emails I'm responding to are work. So I just downloaded Spark to use for my work email. And one of the cool things about Spark is you can immediately tell it to do certain things. You can tell it to archive it. You can tell it that here in an hour, remind me to respond to this email, or tell it to, in a day, remind me to respond to this email, or you can automatically respond to it just with some icons that it creates. It says, thanks, I like this looks good, keep your progress. So you can click on that and it automatically sends, or you can respond right there to your email. You can also place it in folders. You can pin it to have it in your important section of emails to remind yourself. I don't know, it just seemed like a really good way to keep up with your emails and access that stuff. So I've checked it out, Spark. It's an app to organize your emails. If Gmail's not really helping you out, or it's getting convoluted, maybe you're using Yahoo or something like that, Microsoft, Hotmail or something like that, maybe you need a better way to organize it. I would check out Spark. I really like it. I'm looking forward to using it more and getting to know a little bit better. So email, that's one of the main things that we use. And I'll get into some other email things later on this week. So that's one of the organizational things that we do to develop a rhythm to save time. I think that would be helpful for many of us if we weren't having to sit down and answer a ton of emails. If we just set aside time every day to go, okay, I'm going to at least take what's in my inbox and put it in a spot. This is something that I just would like to see later on, or this is something I immediately need to respond to, or something I can take a day. I need to do some research on this. I need to ask some questions before I can respond to this, and just archive it in that way. Other ways are things that might be good for organizational stuff that I've kind of stood upon is project management. Between all the youth meetings that you're doing, all the events that you're planning, all the trips that you do, how do you manage that stuff? How do you keep track of all of that stuff? So there's several ways that I've done this, and there are several ways that I'm sure that you have, and I'd love to hear from you. What are some ways that you track stuff and do stuff? But here's a couple of ways that I've looked up. One that I use for work is called Basecamp. It's a project management tool, and basically it gives you everything that you need in order to manage a project. To-do list, conversational piece, it's called a campfire, where you can just talk back and forth. There's a message board, so if you have some list of things that you want people to respond to, you can do that. There's also an upload section where you can upload your documents and your PDFs, and everybody can collaborate in on that. An extension of that to me is Google Drive. I use Google Docs quite a bit, and it's a great way of having a place where you can have your documents, but other people can respond and edit and view those things in real time, and it saves on a cloud. You don't have to worry about losing it. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen. You can tell it how people can access it or not, and it's a way for everybody to collaborate on something. So Basecamp and Google Docs. A couple other things that I've seen. So maybe you're not into the project management stuff and it's just too much. You just need something to organize your to-do list. There is a desktop app, and I think it's a phone app as well, called Todoist, T-O-D-I-S-T, Todoist. And it's a cool way to keep up with all the activities and all the things you got to do and to do. One of the cool things about it is when you add things to your to-do list and then you check them off, it gives you karma points, and it kind of shows you your productivity. But I think it's a good way of managing stuff. Another free option, Basecamp I think is a paid option. Another way of managing your projects that's a lot like Basecamp is Trello. It's like hello, Trello. I think that's it. But anyway, it's Trello, looks a lot like Basecamp, but it does the same kind of things as far as you can collaborate, you can add documents, you can do a to-do list all in this one hub. So I don't know how you're managing your to-do list. I mean, when I first started in youth ministry, I didn't have any of this stuff. Basically, I was taking a notepad like this and just jot down stuff, and sometimes that's all you need, right? You just need something, piece of paper or something like that. But sometimes you've got a lot going on. You need to manage it. So I would suggest to you Basecamp, Todoist, Google Docs, and that one that I can't pronounce, Trello. I think that's it. Trello, sure. Trello. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. The next couple of days, I'm going to do some live videos to continue to talk about developing that rhythm and time management kind of stuff as far as youth ministry goes. I'm going to get into some more ideas to helping with trip planning and projects and your meetings, also connecting with your students and your parents and your congregation. And then finally get into some personal development stuff, ways that have been helpful to me. And I'd love to hear about ways that have been helpful for you to continue developing and growing in your faith, and as well as leadership skills and things like that. So anyway, this is the Youth Ministry Minute. Thanks for joining me, and I will probably be online again tomorrow to talk about this stuff. I'll let you know what time I'm planning on doing that. See you tomorrow.